Okay, so this is just a quick look at the German response to that first turn in Tunisia. Not a great deal, obviously. There's not a great deal come in, so the movement has really just been to block roads and prevent easy access by the early arriving Allied troops towards Bizerte and Tunis. The way supply works in this game, if I can just drag you across to look at these two boxes over here, ground units A and ground units box B, you have to basically empty this box before you can access these units. The C cap in November 42 for the Axis is 2 SP. So we're pretty limited on what we can bring through, and actually what we chose to bring through was this Italian Supergar division. You can see there it has 3 components. So there's an artillery regiment with a high movement allowance number, so that is a full regiment, so that's 1 SP used already. You've then got 2 battalions, you've then got a regiment of infantry, the 92nd there, and also an assault gun battalion. Now the assault gun battalion, straightforward, it's a battalion, so it's 2T, half of a regimental equivalent. The infantry regiment, essentially its low movement allowance in move mode, illustrates that it has no real heavy equipment, so it's just a lot of guys basically. But guys are easier to ship, so it actually uses half its size as its transportation regimental equivalent. So again, it counts as a battalion rather than a regiment. So between that and the assault gun battalion, there's our 2nd SP. So we used our entire shipping allowance there to get units into Tunisia. So that leaves us with the problem of supply, because obviously to do anything we need to have supply as well. So to get the supply across, what we had to do was rely on the Luftwaffe. And again, if we just kind of look, obviously we've got a very nice airbase here in Tunis, which I'm sure the Allies would like to do something about, but at the minute haven't had a chance to. And if we look across at the Sicily airfields, we can see there's a couple of units. So we've got an Italian 1T capable transport and a German 1T capable transport. Now those units both have very high movement allowances, which means if they are transporting material at half distance, they can double up those transportation limits. So that becomes 2T each, and that's an SP. So the SP that you can now see in Tunis came in via those air transports to the airbase. And it was also supported by, you can see there, we've got, sorry, not that one, those two there, the 2 transports there, the Ju-52s. Now they just fail to be able to use the half movement, so they have to just count as 1T each. And they brought in the A20 March unit, which you can just see down there at Tunis Airbase. He counts as a quarter. He's a battalion, so it should be 2T. But again, he has that small movement allowance. It's just, again, a bunch of guys. Fitting very nicely on a Ju-52. So they are scaled to a quarter, which is 1T. Hence they can fly in on a Ju-52. And then to accompany it, the last Ju-52, we brought in the last 1T, which again you can see now in Tunis. Obviously we have trucks about to ferry supply backwards and forwards, hence I've chosen to show the supply now in Tunis rather than in the airbase. And apart from that, as I said, pretty much everything was okay. Jebel Abiat, where the Witzig, this unit here, started in here, they're on half movement because they're obviously being DG'd. So the first thing we had to do was kind of get them out of dodge. Fortunately, if we track back half 1, half 2, half 3, half 4, and then truck movement on a major road is a third, so there's 4.1, 0.2, 0.3, so we can get adjacent to Bizerte. So that's where the last T of supply came to fuel Witzig, and Witzig could then, because he is he counts as a tracked unit, one of those key units in Tunisia. It's not often that you will see paratroop capable mechanized German whatever, an incredible mixture of abilities and types there. He's also one of the few units that can build hedgehogs for defensive positions and repair air bases as well. So yeah, key unit for the Germans, so they didn't want to lose him early on. So yeah, he then retreated a half, 1, 2, 3, just to get across the other side of the river and into that nastier terrain, to make himself a little bit harder to take. And then of course at the end of this turn he'll be cleaned up, and in fact actually I think I'm just going to do that just for the sake of this, so we'll do that now. Just remove that marker. And then that would effectively be the end of that German first turn. So what we would then do is we would roll for weather. And we've rolled a 53. A 53, ooh, November, we've just caught it there. You can see it runs 11 to 53 is flight. So the weather is good, stays the same. And then initiative. I choose to roll Axis first and then Allies. So here we go. Okay, interesting. The Allies actually win that with a 65 over a 54. Again, I'm choosing to read that as in line with the weather table, as opposed to adding the two values together and giving you a number. Probably doesn't matter either. You're welcome to do whichever way you want to do it. But I just think that kind of works. It probably gives less duplication of results, but there you go. Yeah, so Allies would have choice, but actually given the situation, I think we would probably just allow the Germans to go first. OCS is a strange game in that you often want to let your opponent go first, because then it brings up that spectre of the double turn, that you may get a double turn when it's important. So if a game turn doesn't have anything particularly riding on it, you aren't really looking to take it. So even though the Allies are, if you like, invading, and you would think the initiative, they need to keep the initiative, I think at this stage, even at this stage, they'll happily pass it back across to the Axis. So that's the end of turn 1. So we move into the 19th of November.